Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Factional Fight plays Wurm Online. My name is Brian, this is my brother Adam over there, and this week we have a great episode because we got our first order as a village. We met some people, they watched our videos, they came to our village, and they want to order, something from our village. They want to give us some money essentially, and they are going to order some of our products to do that. So we decided it's the perfect opportunity to showcase farming, since they want to buy some cotton and some veggies and stuff to start their village that they've started a little ways away from us. So we have, luckily, Nightshade, one of our villagers, has a big farm area. She's a big farmer. She is the expert pretty much of the village. We're both not that great at it. I started it at some point, and I'm not that good anymore. But Adam has decided to go up there. He's currently up there right now, and he's harvesting, or he's farming, learning how to farm anyway. How are you doing up there?
I harvested another one.
Ah. Well, what happened?
This is why I should use keybinds.
Well, what did you do?
I harvested instead of tended to the crops, and so I lost the tile.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. And when you do that, you actually lose all the work that went involved in that farm tile, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, what I was saying before Adam keeps messing up is that I'm actually sort of the expert in this, because when we owned the place at Puzzles, I was doing farming, and this was a long time ago. At this point, we haven't lived there since before last summer or something like that. It was a long time ago since we've lived there. And ever since we moved from there, we haven't done any farming. So this is over half a year I haven't touched farming, and we're kind of getting back into this. But for the entire time that we were playing, you didn't touch farming at all.
Nope.
And this is like brand new to you, so this is like kind of nice for me. It's the first time where I feel like I know more about this subject than you do. So you're the guy that has to learn from me this time. So yeah, don't do. So this is our farming episode. I can recommend to not do what Adam just did. There you go. That's my tip of the day. Don't harvest before it's time to harvest. Of course, how do you know? How do you know when it's time to harvest? All these questions are going to be asked and answered, but before that, I thought that would be a good idea to give you guys a little bit of a village update. Now, there's not much that has been done since the last week. Did you say that's correct?
Yeah. I'd say that this week there was a lot of time spent on the mountain, and it probably doesn't show too much, but a lot of that time was there. Just a bit of progress done on the village level. Well, I don't know if you want to show that area, but
well, let's start at the port area, definitely.
Sure.
Looks exactly the same as last week. I'm still not able to make that long house that I couldn't make last week. I only have 91 I shouldn't say that I only don't have 90. I have 91 carpentry, and it realized that it was not enough, and that we actually need something like 96 carpentry or something to build the house that we really wanted to build. But we might have to just give in, because I don't feel like I'm going to hit 96 carpentry anytime soon and do something else, or
Well, we have some time. We can. Wait a
maybe
little
we'll
bit
meet
longer
somebody.
than
Maybe we'll meet somebody.
Yeah.
But since then, we actually have a villager that lives right here. In this spot on the port.
Yeah,
area.
brand new villager.
I'm going to say, I'm going to mess up everyone's name as I do this, but we're going to introduce everybody, I think, this week.
Mhm.
But before that, let's go to the village area. Oh, I did add some. Iron fences, and I paved a little bit here.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see it's a little bit shaping up right now.
We also did spend a little bit of time planning that area that's in front of the archway.
Yeah, this whole port area we haven't.
I mean, still we haven't done anything, but we're like thinking about.
We've been thinking about it.
Trying to figure out how to plan that area.
Yeah. Before it was just a dirt mound to me. Now it's actually sort of shaping up. So look, yeah, they have been doing a lot. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we paved this area. It's starting to look like an actual village area.
So this might be a good time to introduce the people and where they're living.
All right. Perfect. Let's introduce... Oh, wait, they're all here anyway.
Yeah.
We have over on this corner...
Over in this corner.
Over in this corner... we have weighing in at... We have Chunklord, who is a nice guy. I don't think we'll get into anything. Oh, he's right there. Oh, and he's a giant sand pit right now. Giant sandball.
No
making
doubt
mortar.
trying to make mortar, yeah. For his new house.
This
there.
side we have Pekka, who's already finished his stone house. It looks great. Although he did say he has a bunch more to do. But to me it looks great.
Yeah.
This side we have a guy by the name of Delta Craft. So he's taking this. He's taking it a bit slower. He's breathing in the whole worm environment.
Mm-hmm.
And this side we have Sithril, and he has his little forge here.
Fences.
He's got his fences, his farm area,
Yeah.
and of course, like I said, down below on the port level we have, and this is where I'm going to butcher. Oh, he's there, and he's weaponsmithing. Let's do a little hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you? And he is probably weaponsmithing because he seems to really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
And
So glad that I
Hello,
don't
how
have to do
are
that.
hey, he waved. So he what's his name? NZ Kiwi. We say Z because we're from Canada.
Kiwi.
Nz Kiwi. Now maybe that just means people are saying New Zealand Kiwi, but that's an odd thing to call somebody. Hey, New Zealand Kiwi. Let's just call him Kiwi from now on. So Kiwi is down there, and of course this side is Nightshade's area. This whole side over here. Now I will go there in a second because that's where our farm area is, but I'll show you the third area in the mountain. So this is the final thing for the village. I don't know, I'll let you guys decide. Does it look lower than last week?
I don't know. I
know.
think it's
Huh?
visibly lower. A little bit anyway.
Visibly lower? We did do a lot of work on it.
Now the one thing is that as it gets lower, it gets wider. So each, level down that we take it seems to be taking longer
Yeah,
to get through that level.
that's true. Oh, and we do have our good friend, and we said her name wrong last week. Did she say it was pronounced just dozen?
Dozens?
Dozen? And then the SL is apparently silent. So anyway, that is our village update. That's what we've done. We took down the mountain a little bit. So other than that, let's go back. You're still here, right?
Yep. Farming
This
away.
is our big, we're utilizing Nightshade's farm area.
Yeah, this is where we started, and we're gonna expand down on the port level.
Yeah, there
This
you
is a
are.
temporary.
Got a bunch of cotton there. But really... I mean, you took a rake. Essentially, this is what you did. You took a rake, and you came up here, started farming the tiles that were already planted.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be where your limit draws at what you know about farming.
Yep, pretty much. I know that I can, if there's crops planted,
Mm-hmm.
I can take a rake, activate it, and click farm. And that does something. Not quite sure what, I just know that needs to be done for some reason or another.
So you are the newbie here.
I am the complete newbie. Yeah, and I know not to click harvest, even though I do it from time to time.
This is like... I'm just going to take a moment here to breathe in the fact that I'm somehow supposed to be the expert of this episode. I mean...
Yeah.
Feels good. Anyway, let's do this. To inform, you are the newbie. I'm sort of, I guess, the expert here. I do have a bit higher skill in it just because I was doing it for 3 months or something like that when we first started. I'll see what I can remember. But because we're both kind of not that versed in farming, I did go out before this episode and ask a couple expert farmers, people that I know that they do farm. I asked them some tips and tricks that they can give me because I really don't. I wouldn't have any to give you guys. Like, I can tell you the basics and that's about it. And that's what we're going to do. So, how about this? This is the basic... this is the absolute basics. You've just foraged and botanized a tile, right? So you go to a grass tile, you go into nature, and you forage. And all this area is picked clean. Somebody picked this clean already.
Yeah, no,
there we
this
go.
part I definitely remember doing this.
Everyone's done this at some point because you have to. Where do you get the first onion or the first pumpkin or whatever, pumpkin seed? You get it from foraging and I got nettles. Yeah, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you get that you don't use for farming. And there's a lot of stuff that you don't really use at all. But
eventually you'll get something.
Eventually you'll get something.
You can eventually get a cotton. You can eventually get... I found a branch. Yes.
Yes.
A branch. Eventually you're going to be able to... You get something. So we might skip this step because I don't think I'm going to get anything.
You'll probably get something.
A woad.
A woad. I need a woad.
Yes, but not for this.
Not for this.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get anything. So eventually, you do get something, right? You don't need any tools or anything to forage
what exactly
or
are
botanize.
you looking for when you...
Something
botanizing?
like a cotton or something.
Okay.
Something that I can plant.
Like, I remember one of our primary things that we were
blueberry.
really looking for was food at the beginning.
Yeah.
Food was like... that was the golden egg at the beginning.
And we had we didn't understand farming or anything. And a lot of what we did was we'd plant a farm, we'd wait a few days or something, and we'd look at it and we'd be like, do we harvest it?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Actually, I remember our first interaction with a farm was on the coast. When we finally made it to the coast, we found this big plot that was just farm.
Yeah,
and
no one was on.
And it wasn't on any deed, so we were allowed to farm it. And
it wasn't locked.
It wasn't
It
locked.
was just like an open area.
Yeah.
I found a garlic. Yes. Okay.
Nice.
Let's do this. So I have a garlic. So that's one of, let's say, the crops that you're allowed to farm. And to find a list of what you can find, just go to Wurmpedia.com and just look up farming. I think they have an entire list there of everything that you're allowed to plant into the ground. Like I'm saying, farming is actually fairly basic. As long as you get over that initial hump of like, how do I do it? what do I look for? So garlic, all you have to do, you don't need any tools at all, and you just highlight it, right-click the ground of any dirt tile that's been cultivated, so I'll show you that in a second, and you just click sow.
I think it's
so.
So.
I keep saying sow because we played EverQuest for so long. Anyone else that's played EverQuest, they'll know what we're talking about. Anyway, so how do you make tiles ready? How do you make tiles ready for farm? All right.
Sowing.
The easiest way that I can think of is you take a shovel. Okay, there's two different ways. There's the long way. Take a shovel, go to a grass tile, pack it. I don't know why I'm showing this way, because
No, show it, because this is the way that
it goes to pack dirt, you right click it, and you do cultivate.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also if you have a pack dirt tile, hit cultivate and it brings it back to a dirt tile that you're allowed to
This is,
farm.
by the way, I'm done up there. It's just I'm coming down to
All right,
join you.
come
But
on
I
down.
remember that was the way that we
We did
did
it.
it. Hundreds of tiles, we would do it tile by tile. Cultivate.
And we didn't just
packing.
realize that if you just took your shovel and you dug one time, it turns everything around you into dirt, and you would
4
just
tiles
drop that
would
one
have-
dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look at this.
this.
I can just go and take this whole row and make it into farmable living space.
Now be very careful with this method, because if one of those 4 tiles
Is a farm tile?
is a farm tile or something that you don't want to be destroyed, it'll destroy it.
yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah,
You also
don't
have
do
to
that.
watch out for buildings and stuff. But here, let me
All
help
right,
you.
So, yeah, help me out a bit. You want to take that? I'll take over here. Well, look, it's a wild boar that happened to come onto our property.
Now, can you just farm anywhere? Like, just do this and farm anywhere? Or does there have to be something special about the place?
The only requirement for farming is that the tile that you're using can't be more than 8 slope.
Like,
If
the
that makes
whole
sense.
thing, 8 slope? Like,
The whole thing. That's
You sure about that?
yeah, if you look at it, a tile slope is determined. I don't know if we ever talked about this,
Hmm.
but you know how the tile slope is determined by not just one way, but both ways, both directions here? If you're standing on a point,
Yeah.
it's between the point that you're standing on and the point diagonal to you. If you
Oh.
add up both of those, it has to be below 8.
Oh, so it's like
Were you?
you have to add up this 2 sides, 2 adjacent sides.
Yes.
Okay, so the sum of 2 adjacent sides has to be less than 8. Am I saying that right?
You're the math guy. So
Oh, hey,
I'm
we
just
have a
going to
friend.
nod my head. Yes.
A little boar who's made his
Yes.
way down to our port.
Which I just mentioned. Anyway,
Oh,
let's... You weren't
wasn't
listening
paying
at all.
attention.
Alright, so what are we doing here?
I don't know. You're the expert.
Alright, so come here. There are... Once you plant it, it's not going to say anything. The problem with me is that I have a high enough skill. So let's go through this. On the wiki, there are certain... at certain levels, just like with digging, I remember, if you haven't seen our digging episode, go watch it. But at a specific level of digging, right, you can all of a sudden see the slope level right on the mouse over. Right on the
Okay.
tooltip.
Yeah, right on the tooltip. Okay.
You don't have to examine it anymore. And it works the same with farming. At a specific level, you're going to be able to unlock certain abilities.
I don't have any
Now,
of those abilities.
You don't have
unlocked.
any of them. Now, the thing is, I do, which makes it a lot easier. Now, these abilities range from, like, being able to tell what kind of crop it is, being able to tell what stage the crop is in, so whether it's ready to harvest or whether it's, like, halfway there or it's like really low. I can tell that already. So on my screen, I can show you guys what it's going to look like if you ever do get to this level. I'm just trying to figure out what those levels are. At level 10, a farmer can determine which type of crop is growing in a field. So it's only level 10.
Let me see what mine, after just doing that, let me see what mine is. Do I have 10? Do I have 10? I have 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At level 15, that's when you can mouse over the crop and determine the type of crop. And
Isn't that what you
whether
said
or
the
not...
first one?
No, I think the first one you can examine it.
Oh, you would have to examine it. Okay, so level 15 you get the tooltip.
You get the tooltip that will tell you what kind of crop and whether it's tended or unattended. So you can
On the
mouse over
tooltip?
it, yeah, and you can tell whether you need to farm it or not.
Oh, that's so awesome.
At
Now, how would I be
level-
able to tell if I didn't have that tooltip?
By visual aid, and I'll show you that in a second.
Okay.
At level 20, you'll be able to determine at what growth level it is, and they do it just like everything else in Wurm through a sentence of text that's kind of obscure, and you'll have to go to the wiki and figure out where in that time frame it is.
Mhm.
So on the wiki it tells you them all, and there are 8 stages ranging from that you see a patch of freshly sown field to rotting old weeds. So there's 8 steps. These steps can last to go from the beginning to the end up to like 5.
Hey, look, I'm a farmer.
You're holding your rake, you're a farmer now. This can range from a long time. I think, see, I haven't done this in so long, but when I was doing it, it could be from like 5 days, maybe even a little more, until it was, crop was ripe. It could be lower, it could be like 3 days. There's like 3 to 5 I'm going to give it a range of, but I think
Right.
it could be more than that. I'm not too sure. Maybe any farmer out there can let me know. This is where my knowledge
So
is
it's
kind
like
of low.
completely different depending on what? Like,
I think it's random. It's
Huh.
like, I'm going to give an example that you guys would have no idea. If you've ever bred a horse,
okay.
which we haven't done in this series yet,
Yeah.
but it'll tell you, like, it's random. It'll tell you a number, like, this is how long it's going to take.
Mm.
And you can't determine that. It's never the same. I mean,
Interesting.
it's a random. It could be the same. But it's the same with farming. It'll grow at its own pace based on a random number generator or something. Who knows? I'm not good enough to know that stuff. But anyway, it
Now,
doesn't
as a-
take like overnight or whatever.
As a
Go.
newbie who don't get these tooltips, like you're like low level in farming and you just planted your first few crops and you're waiting for them to be harvested or be ready to be harvested.
Mhm.
How can you tell without the tooltips exactly when to harvest? Because if you harvest too early, like I did earlier,
Mhm.
it completely destroys the crops and you get no yield and you're back to botanizing for more stuff.
All right. Well, sometimes I don't know what level it is, and at a certain stage, if you harvest too early, but it's like close, you get 1 back or something like that.
Okay.
But
Well, I
yeah,
didn't
that
get
didn't
any
help
back.
you.
No.
All right. Well, luckily, I think one of our villagers has some ripe tiles that we can show you to give you
Okay.
an idea of what it would look like.
Okay. So you're saying visually you'd have to know.
Now it's
what it
all
looks
visual.
like.
At this point, now before, I think when we started, there was no visual aid for these crops. There was, I think, 1 crop type visually, and they all look the same. I don't think I said that right.
I kind of remember there was a visual aid to tell you when it needed to be harvested.
Yeah.
But it was back when every single
crop looked exactly
crop
the same.
Looked exactly the same. It just
Since
looked like-
then, every crop has their own graphic, so you can just look at whatever crop you planted, and you can tell if you recognize what those crops look like. You can just tell, oh, that's a cotton, crop. That's pumpkins are kind of easy, as you can see over here. Pumpkins look like pumpkins are growing.
Oh, cool.
Okay, there's a bunch of them here that I can
That's
show
so cool.
you.
Some pumpkins, like the ones that aren't ready, look more greenish.
Yeah, I mean, I can go through these and try to remember what these are. This looks like garlic. This looks like onions.
What's this one? This one looks like strawberries.
Sort of. This looks
I
like
can't even tell. Is this strawberries?
wheat or something. I'm probably wrong. That is strawberries. And as you can see the strawberries in there, like they're all red. That means it's ready.
Oh, so you can actually see the strawberries.
Yeah, so see the difference here? Here's one that you can see the difference. See here? It's all like fluffy white coming out of this one. It's cotton. And the white, once it turns white like this, you know it's ready to harvest. And as you can see, this is also a cotton field here next to it. But there's no white, cotton fluffing out of it. And therefore, you know it's not ready. And here you can see the same thing with the pumpkins, although they're kind of easier to tell. I mean, they're orange, it's ready to go. Over here, it's not quite ready. And over here, you can see Wemp. You can see little tiny yellow... I don't even know what to call it.
Man, so like each crop has its own way
Yeah,
of telling
and you're
you
going to
it's
be
ready.
able to tell what crop it is once you do it enough times and you learn what each crop looks like. You can just stare at it and be like, that's the cotton. It's the way that it should be, right? You should be able to tell what kind of crop it is just by staring at it. So when they did that update where they made it so every single crop has this individual look, that really, really helped the game out, I believe. And that's about the time when I stopped farming. So I didn't get that benefit, really. I did like a little bit after they did that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So since we're up here, is there any way that we can visually see if one of these needs tending?
Well, let's go into a little bit before that onto what that is. What is tending? Why should you do that? Okay, well,
Sure.
farming is an odd skill. It doesn't work as the same way as other harvesting skills. It's more in-depth, and you know how in the last episode we mentioned optimized skill gain, and we were talking about like different kinds of item or tools and which type of level tool should we use, and like all this stuff, how to optimize your skill gain. We almost have to do it entirely again for farming, because
Why it's not the same?
It is somewhat the same in the sense that it seems that obviously COC will help. That's a general tool. Like, there's a lot of general things that we talked about in the Optimize that can be used for this. Not going to go over it again. Go watch our Optimize skill episode. That'll tell you all the general tips, sleep bonus, COC, and that sort of thing. The tool levels seem to be matching it. A lower tool. I'll go through it. I think in the tips and tricks I do have somebody told me what kind of tool they recommend. I've never done it, but I'll recommend what they recommend, and people can go try it out themselves.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is that the act of sowing and the act of harvesting yields almost no skill, like barely any skill.
Okay,
So
so
if
like
you-
planting and
Planting the
Reaping.
crop and yield, like getting the crop, like
reaping.
yeah, reaping the crop. You're not going to get any skill, right? But what happens is that during the time that you planted, every half a day or something like that, randomly throughout the day, the crop becomes what's called unattended. And it actually is visually, you can see that it's unattended. And by visually, I mean, see how nice and straight these crops are here? There's the crop looks like there's dirt on either side, you can see, and there's no crop like out of place. It's very nice and bushy, like it's been tended to. But over here, here's a better visualization. This crop here, that I believe is, I'm guessing potato, it looks like. That's a guess from my part. Is nice and straight, right? You can see the dirt on either side. Does that make sense?
Okay.
But the Wemp farther is unattended, and you can tell because it's just all over the place, all over the tile, and you
Okay.
can't see any dirt on either side. It's not in a nice row like this is. So go up to that Wemp and just farm, okay? No
Okay,
harvesting,
farm,
even
no
though
harvest.
even though it is harvestable, it's not ours.
Yeah.
But
Farm.
if you farm it, we'll see. You just farmed it? Let's see what it turns into. There. It basically comes back. It's a lot harder to see with the harvesting ones because it's so large. The ones that are ripe.
Yeah.
But you saw the difference. You saw it come kind of back into a more tended tile.
Another thing I noticed is, like, the way that the graphics work is that it looks three-dimensional, but from the angle that I'm on, you can see that they're just a combination of a whole bunch of two-dimensional
That's right.
textures.
That's what they are.
Yeah, and before it was harvested or farmed, it looked like those were sort of like on angles with one another.
That's right.
And now they're all nice.
They're all nice and straight. Well, that's another way that you can view it, definitely. Now let me finish the thought here before I forget. So that's the only way that you can tell, or that's the only way you can really level your farming.
That's right.
Is to farm. You have to farm the tile from unattended to tended throughout the life cycle of that crop to gain your farming skill. So
how often can you do that?
Now, it's roughly every single tile will roughly go unattended twice a day or something like that. Like once every half a day, like a 12-hour period.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It's not exact, and when I was doing it, it was like all over the place. I would do it in the morning, and only some of them would be unattended, and I'd do it in the evening, and some other ones. Some people wait like a full day so that all of them are unattended, and they just do it. Just farm it all. And when you do it, you want like lots of them. Like what I would recommend personally is make it so a lot of them, or if not all of them, are unattended, and then just go through it. If you want to become a farmer, you would definitely want to waste your sleep bonus on it. Turn on your sleep bonus, have your nice rake that it's going to give you your skill, and just go through them all, queuing up the action, which is another thing we talked about in the optimization. Queuing up your actions. That's what you would do.
Now, what if we were to harvest this? How much WEMP would we get?
That's a good question. Depending on your skill level.
Okay.
So you can actually see this on the farming page, roughly. Now, I don't know if this is entirely true. I can only tell you what my experiences was a long time ago. You start off, everyone that plants 1 will always get 2 back.
Okay. So this is when you're just starting, you'll always get 2 back.
Yeah, right from the beginning. Now, the crop is always going to come out your level every time.
Okay.
Whatever level you are, so you're level 7, you said, you're going to harvest this, and you're going to get level 7 WEMP back, WEMP plants back. You're going to get level 7, pumpkins back.
Now that works all the way up, like even
All
when
the
you're
way up.
level 90?
If you're level 90, everything you harvest is going to be level 90.
Huh. That doesn't seem fair.
It's not even, yeah.
I don't think there's any other skill like that in this game. Like every other skill, it's like you get it and it's like random. I mean, mining is like that.
You don't have to go mining action and then wait 5 days to get it back.
That's true.
So there is a give and take here. Now, as you level, you're going to get more harvest. You're going to get more yields. And on the wiki, it says it's very general, and I didn't find that it was exactly right for every single harvesting.
The wiki was wrong?
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It's saying that at level 20, you're guaranteed 3. At level 23, you will get a chance at 4. At
So,
level...
like, I plant 1, and if
And-
I'm level 20 and I harvest, I'll get 3 back?
you'll automatically get 3 back. You're
Automatic.
guaranteed.
Huh.
At level 40, you're guaranteed 4 crops back. Level
40.
40 farming.
Okay.
And at level 60, you're guaranteed 6 back.
So this is what the wiki says. Now,
Now,
what do you...
The reason why they're saying... And I realize why they're using the word guarantee. Because it means that even before that, you have a chance at getting, 6. Before
I see.
level 60, you have a chance of getting 6. And what I found is that certain crops, you get more than others. So certain crops, you get more yield. You have a better chance at getting, like, the 6 than you do other crops. And we're going to get a little bit into this soon. I think maybe we should get into that now.
Okay.
Certain crops are better for leveling at different skills than other crops.
I see. So it's sort
It's
of like
kind
how
of
the
confusing.
veins work with mining.
Yeah, I don't even know if we brought anything like that up before.
We did. We, like, the levels of the veins. There's, like, the iron and then, copper, zinc.
Sure, so you
tin.
can
Like,
use it
there's an
for your
order.
whole mining thing that I don't know.
Okay, I
about.
can understand that when
Um,
you put it in the context of mining.
Can we do it any other way? I don't know. Okay, so I'll try to relate it to mining. Yeah, so certain crops are better for your farming skill depending on the level that you're working on it. Now, I don't know all of them. Oh, I didn't realize that on the wiki that you can actually get a picture of it, what every single crop looks like.
Oh, really?
Ripe. What every crop looks like when it's ripe.
Oh,
So you don't
okay.
even have to guess. You can just go to the wiki and cheat your way through it.
There you
Anyway,
go.
we didn't even talk about... Okay, never mind. Too much information. I don't know what the levels are because I haven't done this. I don't know it off by heart. But I had somebody that kind of told me their tips and tricks, and it sort of had some of that in there. So you're gonna... Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what it is. You're gonna have to bear with me here. Because I don't even know if there's anywhere... I mean, it says corn won't give you any skill gain until level 25.
Okay.
That's about all it says.
That's what I love about this game. It's like even the stuff that's on the internet regarding this game, like nobody has a full idea. Actually, there might be some people who have a full idea, but there's not that much information out there. There's like the basics, and then you gotta sort of figure it out yourself.
Yeah, and you'll figure it out. Now, these tips and tricks will hopefully help you. So let's go back down and start our farm while I go through some of these tips and tricks from our good friends Nightshade and Electris.
Electris, yes.
Electris. Thank you, Electris, for giving us these tips because I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. They are our farming experts of the episode. Let's see if we have them in any sort of order that I can say this in.
Should I bring some things?
Please do.
Okay. What are we planting here?
Okay,
Cotton.
did you know, because I didn't, that higher quality seeds means a quicker sowing time?
Hmm.
I had no idea. The quality of the seed determines how quickly you will sow the seed into the ground.
I did not know that.
I don't even know if we can test that out. Do we have any low quality?
Let's see here. What do we have? We're looking for cotton, right?
Cotton, and
Cotton,
they also
cotton,
want
cotton.
veggies.
Oh, veggies. Okay.
So they want any of that stuff. We have...
we have some odd amount of cotton here.
do we have any high quality stuff?
Let's see. I have a 45 quality cotton and 50 quality cotton.
Oh, I've got a 81 quality garlic
Oh,
and a 40 quality onion. So almost double. Not quite double. But almost double.
wait, this satchel only fits 2 cotton.
This would make more sense if it was the same This isn't a good test because they're completely different crops here. So I'm going to do the garlic, and I'm getting a 7.7 action timer.
Okay. So the planting, it doesn't matter what your skill is when you plant. It only matters when you harvest. Is
That's
that
another thing that we haven't talked about, is it? Yeah, well, anyone can come and farm anybody else's tiles because it won't matter what the end result is. The only way, the only thing that's determined how much yield you get back is the person that harvests it.
And the quality? Or is it just the amount that you yield?
It's a person that harvests. The person that determines the quality.
The quality, okay.
Yeah, the quality of the crop and how much you yield.
Interesting.
And you can go and farm somebody else's. Like, I know people allow you to farm their crops because it helps them.
Well,
it becomes unattended. And they don't want to sit there and farm it. They already have the farming skill or whatever. But they have to be the one to go around and actually harvest it to get the maximum amount, like whatever their skill level is. I said that the garlic was what, 7.7? Now I'm going to do the onion, which is half the level at 42 quality. And it's 9.9. So I think that we can't safely say, but we got this information from farming experts, so it seems to work. What else? The second thing that they said, and I don't know if this is true, so you guys are gonna have to go out and try to use these tips and tricks yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Pumpkins apparently seem to give a lot of skill gain no matter what farming level you're at. Pumpkins is like the universal farming skiller.
Okay.
And that's probably why they're not really used for anything, really.
Except fighting targets or fighting enemies.
You need a few pumpkins, but yeah.
You know what pumpkins seem to be good for? Adding weight to your meals.
Yes, that's true.
Because they're so hardy.
They weigh way too much. You can't fit them in anything.
Yeah, I know that from cooking. That's a good...
Another tip and trick as we watch Adam farm here. Let's see. Apparently cotton gives barely any skill after 80 farming.
Oh yeah, I'm going to need to know that very soon.
Yes. There you go, Adam. When you hit 80 farming, watch out. Around when you hit 40 to 70, apparently all the different kinds of grains like rye and wheat, and can you think of any other one? Barley, oat, all these different grains apparently give the most skill gain between the levels of 40 and 70. So that one may be a little closer to your...
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I note is that you get a lot of onions at the beginning. This is what I found. You're foraging and you're getting onions and you're planting them and you're trying to... But apparently onions are really high level farming. I don't know exactly what they are, but they're not low level. Like,
that's interesting.
If you're farming
for
onions...
cooking, onions are the lowest.
Yeah, it's completely backwards. That's like, a little strange.
It is.
Anyway, that's my tip that I remembered.
Okay.
Apparently, once you hit 80, though, grains just completely stop giving you...
Mm-hmm. Oh, so they're
that's
good
two
for that
things.
range.
That's cotton and grains. Don't do them after 80. All you high-level farmers that probably didn't need to watch this episode. Oh, and get this. Garlic. I just planted garlic. Yeah, yes. That doesn't give you good skill gain until 90.
Oh. So
garlic is great for high levels.
High levels, okay. So you want to do that 90
they
to
recommend,
100 grind.
Yeah, they recommend, and just like when we were talking about the skill optimization, they were recommending a low-level rake. They said probably around 25 quality with, of course, the highest COC that you can get, the better. You know, they were saying like
What
70
quality?
COC, whatever.
Quality?
Like 25 quality.
Oh, 25.
They're recommending something like that for optimal skill gain when you're starting out, all the way till, after they say after 70 skill level, they lowered that to 15 quality rake.
Mm. Now I guess that when you use a small lower quality rake, I'm guessing that it takes longer to do the farming action.
Yeah, you probably get much more skill.
It's like that's the
Because
same.
of it.
Works the same.
Anyway, that works similar to what like doing mining and wood chopping and stuff would do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, don't forget that when you harvest, you don't even need to use a rake or anything to harvest stuff, except this like and for sowing and like sowing and harvesting, you don't need to use a rake at all. It's only for when you're farming. You don't use your hands.
Oh.
You don't even need to be activating anything. Anyway, but if you were to harvest any of the grains, you actually need, what is it called? A scythe? A scythe?
A scythe.
You need a scythe.
Those big curvy,
Yeah.
like the death.
That's right. Death will be holding one. The Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
You can actually make them, but they're only made through one of the hardest skills, weaponsmithing. You need a weaponsmith to make you a scythe. So just keep that in mind if you're going to do grains. Let's see, we're down to the last 2 tips that I was able to get out of them. So, oh no, sorry. I'm down to the last tip that I was able to get out of them. And that is, I think, the best tip of all, because I had no idea that this could happen, and I'm sorry. I was so surprised when I heard this, and it can be utilized for so many other things.
Really?
I had no idea. If you put, as a farmer, you probably have to take a giant area and plant so many seeds around everywhere. So what does that mean? That means you have to go into your inventory, find your batch of seeds. Right. So I've got the corn and potatoes. You have to activate one and sow. Now, I keep saying sow. And you have to sow.
Or EverQuest.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to get that out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, another tip and trick, I guess, would be to bind the sowing process, the harvesting process, and the farming process, because you'd be doing that a lot as a farmer.
I should do that.
Yeah.
Bind.
So there you go. If you can find those key binds, and we've talked about it in our newbies tips and tricks episode. So go watch that if you haven't. But I don't have that, so I'm just gonna right click and hit.
Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm activating the cottonseed, and now I'm highlight the tile and I press the keybind I made.
Right. Perfect.
Okay,
that's like. But how about if I could tell you that there's a faster way to do it? Would you want to take that faster way?
For sure.
This is what you do.
It's taking forever.
You get a container that you can hold, any kind of container that you want. We're talking pottery bowls, small buckets, which is what I have, satchels, backpacks, anything that'll fit.
Any of the containers that we talked about in our containers episode.
Correct. And the ones that we didn't talk about in our containers episode.
Did we miss any?
I don't remember. So go get I'm using a small bucket, for example. And you can see I already have this, but you can drag the small bucket to any of your tool belts slots.
Oh, okay.
Now, when you do that, you'll notice that not only does a tool belt have the image of your container, but it has a number now.
Interesting.
The number is indicating how many
Oh my god.
how many items are inside of that container.
I think I just figured out this tip.
Yeah, you got it before I
Oh
did.
my god. This is awesome.
Now, that means that when you activate the container, you're actually activating the first item in your container. And therefore, you can put 100 whatever, like vegetables or seeds or whatever in there. Click, I've got it at number 3. And then just click your sow keybind. In
That's
my case, I'm just
awesome.
going to click sow. And then move on to the next slot, and you just click number 3 again. You don't have to go into your inventory for the entire time that you're sowing. Sowing. After 8 years of saying sow,
Oh, now you have to activate it every time.
now the only thing you have to activate it every time.
Yeah, let me see.
And there you go.
Still not bad.
You know
That's
what?
An awesome trick.
This can be translated to so many things that we never did before.
Mm.
We can just think of
Yeah,
the
the first thing
possibilities.
that comes to mind is nails.
Have a bag of nails and just
Or your ship making. Your shipbuilding.
shipbuilding, a bag of pegs.
Yeah, you need to add 400
All right.
pegs.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Mm.
But there you go. We have an entire little area filled with farm. And we just have to wait now.
We should keep going.
3 to 5 days. You want to keep going? Okay, let's keep going.
Yep.
But anyway, this is how you do it. You need the flat area. Let's recap a little bit. 1, you need a flattish area. No
Flattish.
tile can be over 8 tiles.
8 slope.
8 slope, I should say. No
When
tile.
you add two adjacent
two adjacent
tile
borders. 2, of course, you have to botanize and forage or be given the first amount of crops.
Mm-hmm.
You plant them through the use of whatever ways that we talked about. You could do the container method or whatever. Oh, before that, you have to make sure that the tile is ready for crops, and that is by doing the 2 methods that we talked about, which is either digging, which will turn 4 tiles around your point to dirt. That's ready for farm. Or you can pack, which is what we did when we were newbies, and then cultivate, because we thought for some reason that you had to click the cultivate button in order for it to be
Made sense.
it made sense. I don't, but it doesn't make sense in Wurm logic. So, but I think it worked out, because now you can easily just get 4 tiles ready really quickly by just digging.
Mm-hmm.
Next, after you have the crops, you just plant them, you sow them, and you wait 3 to 5 days for them to harvest up. During that time, you notice that when they're unattended, that you make sure that they get tended. That's what's going to give you your experience. So if you're doing this to become an ultimate farmer, the ultimate farmer, that sounds funny. If you're doing this to become the ultimate farmer, you'll want to farm them yourself to get your skill, and that's the whole thing was from the optimize your skill episode. Go figure that out. After it becomes harvested, you can tell that it's ready for harvest based on those images on the Wikipedia on the farming page, or by just looking at them. I would get used to each crop and what they look like, because you're going to need to know, especially if you want to be a farmer. You can just look. At one point I was able to look at the very end when they switched, like what they all looked like. I was able to tell what the crops were just by looking at them and when they were ready to harvest, as well as when they needed tending. And then you start that process over again. Your yield will get better over time as you get your skill up, and you're going to be able to get 3 corn back, and then all of a sudden you got 4, and then 5, and then 6 corn back, and it keeps going up. I don't know how far it goes. I've never gotten really far, but I know that you can get quite a bit as a higher level farmer. I'm pretty sure it goes past 6 for some things. Farming people can can tell us below in the comments section. But as you're doing that, let's move on then to you guys. Obviously, every single week we do a question and answer segment, and we're going to do that. So far, we've been doing it somewhat at the very end while we're doing something else in the game. We bring up all the questions that you've had during the week. Adam puts them together for me because I do not have the time to do that, and he loves this segment much more than I do. So let's go. Let's go into the questions that he has chosen off of our Facebook, off of our Twitter. We're getting better at those two.
Yep.
Off of our serversaredown.com, and of course our YouTube channel. Let's take a look. Question number 1 is by JD Hits Vivo, and he says, he was watching one of our videos while the servers were down. Servers are down.
Yeah, things happen to cause the servers to go down.
And he has a question. Who is Auras? Apparently, everyone hates him, but no one says why. Damn you, Auras. Damn you. Anyway, next question. Loktar. Hey there, I've been watching your episodes since the very first one. I've learned a lot and appreciate all the hints and tricks that you guys showing us. Thank you for your comment. But there's one thing that always bothers me ever since the first episode. Okay, now I'm getting a little scared. He says, Brian. Oh, of course it has to be me. On your event window, on the left-hand side, I think he means the right-hand side? Right-hand side.
Left-hand
event
side
window.
or right-hand side?
Event window, let's say the right-hand side, because my event window's on the right-hand
we're
side.
flipped. Yeah.
Yeah. It says that... I won't even listen to what you're saying. It says that you have a friends list, ? Or what exactly is that? Now, you do notice on my event window over there, if Adam points just... Let's see, which way do you point? That way, yeah. Right there. That's not normally there, it's true. And the reason why is because in the settings, it allows you to change where your local... all the people that are in your local is usually in your local window, like the local chat window. I didn't like it there because every time I was chatting with my village or I was chatting with my alliance or whatever, and this went back like months and months and months ago, I've always had this. You can never see who's also in your local, and therefore I'd always miss if I was going through local or something. I'd always miss. I still see this didn't help. See, I say that I always missed it before. So now, apparently, this was supposed to help, but it never does. I always miss people in local. But it allows you to see that they're your people in local in your event window, while you can also see who's in your village. Like here, I can see over here who's in my village, and at the same time, I can see who of those people are in my local. That's why I do it.
Now, this would be a very handy thing to have on the PvP servers as well, because... being aware of who's in your locals is extremely important there.
I would assume so, although we've never been. Maybe at some point. So that's what it is. And he also would like to appreciate if we give him a little bit more about UI and the tricks and modifications, third-party apps. Cheers. Now, for some of this, I can tell you, third-party apps, I will give you the tips and tricks of that. There are none.
There
are some programs and stuff that you can use.
Okay, yeah.
We can get into that at some point.
I guess nothing that adds to the UI of the game.
Nothing that adds to the UI of the game. There are some nice programs and nice web places that you can go to plan out your village and that sort of thing. Maybe we'll do that at some point.
There's a nice one that apparently will track your logs in real time, so like it can tell, make a little dinging noise when certain things happen in the game.
And I've never touched them, unfortunately. I don't really modify that sort of thing anymore. I used to spend a lot of time on that in other games, but you know, there's just so much to do in Wurm.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Let me
And
get to
just
the
back,
question.
I just thought of a UI
Yes.
trick.
Ooh.
We've mentioned it before, but you can make certain windows smaller.
Yes,
like, for
we
example, the
mentioned this
fighting window.
in the newbie tips and tricks episode or something like that.
Did we mention this? Yeah, we might have
Possibly.
mentioned this.
Let's just recap, I guess, for this guy. If you right-click your stamina and what would you call this bar? Your life bar,
food bar.
and food bar. If you right-click it, you'll get a number of toggles, including your frames per
Okay.
second, your sleep bonus, your speed. You can toggle your name, and you can lock the window. If you mouse over it, obviously, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff to do with you, how much sleep bonus you have, and that sort of thing. The compass window, you can also right-click it, and you can hide or lock or toggle the size. You can make it smaller if you want. There's the smaller
I
version.
keep it smaller for
I
the
can't see
just
it.
for the real estate.
That's true. I like the real estate. I'll have to get used to that. Fighting
Yeah.
window I keep smaller. In fact, the size is that big normally. You can also toggle the spacing. So what does that mean exactly? And what's the anchor? Oh, you can toggle which side it flipped. So for example, let's say I make it smaller. See how the spacing kind of looks funky on my screen? I'll bring it
I
over here
see.
so Adam sees
Spacing
it.
makes it even smaller.
Yeah, it makes the text go
Like
off of your
skinnier?
screen. Yeah, so if you do spacing now, it actually fits the text better onto the actual background. Next, I mean, you could do the same thing with your tool belt. So right-click things.
Yeah.
Maybe stuff pops up and stuff happens. You never know. But overall, I don't think we're going to do a basic UI episode. Other people have done it, and they've done it better than us. We could do it. So just play around with it. If you go into options, I have options bound to just 0 or O, which I think is default, but it's all. You can also get to it with escape, I believe. You can go, and a lot of these will bring stuff on and off. See, there's like a timers button, a select bar, a wiki search, a character window.
I like the timer. I use it for
Yeah, there's a
things.
bunch of, just go in here. There's an achievements window that we've never talked about. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that you can just go through one by one. I'll let you guys explore it and go through it yourself. Next question, let's see. Next question by Faildre. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Just wanted to note that non-premium players can actually ride cows. I did not realize that. When we were non-premium players, we were complaining that we couldn't ride cows.
That's right.
And now I looked at the wiki. He's right. They switched it recently to make it so you can ride cows.
Yeah, like
So,
really
thank
recently
you.
too.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
A little bit too late for us, but if you're a new player, go find a cow and have some fun riding it. Might
You
not
gotta-
be the
you need
fastest
a
way
rope.
to go,
Oh yeah.
but it's pure fun. Oh, he's got more. Oh, he saw the forum post about the great loom push of 29. that was funny. If you haven't seen it, go view the forums. I don't know what to say. Basically, we pushed the loom across Delhi. And it took us.
we mentioned that.
I think we did mention that. It took us like 9 hours or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that was a good
And
day.
it was for Nightshade.
It was for Nightshade, and now she has it up on her her house there.
Yep.
Oh, here's the question: how are we supposed to come visit your village? Any possibility helping out?
If you won't tell us
If you won't tell us where it is. I would try to piece it together, clues of where it would be from videos, but that could come across a little creepy. I I don't know. You want to take this one?
Yeah, I think that we've sort of been on purpose keeping it a little bit mysterious, and there actually have been people who have done exactly what you've done, or what you're mentioning is piecing together the clues based on the videos and just trying to trace our steps. We're not going to tell you where we are, and by all means, if you are able to piece together the clues and make it to us, we will welcome you, and you can help out all you want. And we've had a couple people who've done that. So
we will we'll eventually announce it. If you really, really, really badly want to find our place, and contact us. We are in the game. If you talk to us enough, I'm sure one of us will let it slip at some point. So, or just stalk us. One of those two. All right, next. Van Hex. I got all 3 of my questions answered. Yes, you did. And you have more. Eventually, you will run out of features to explain to us simpletons, right? Okay, I should say that eventually every show ends, right? Every show has an ending at some point. I don't see us running out of content for a long time. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that up to this point, we've probably just made it to the intermediate stage.
Yeah, we've been doing this since around October-ish, sometime in October. We've released about, at this point, 18 videos or something like that. I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
And there's just we barely scratched the surface. I think we've just gone through some of what we just did an episode called Newbies, Tips, and Tricks, that was episode 9 or something. That was far into what we were doing, and it's because there's just so much to this game and there's so many things. We're just getting to the professions now. This is our first professions episode right now. Well, farming, kind of.
We even have a few more newbie tips and tricks that we're stockpiling for another episode. So yeah, you just keep an eye out for that one.
Now we will eventually, I think, transform into something. I mean, we've got our village here. Who knows what's next? But I think we'll just keep going with what we're doing now, and it should bring us quite a long time into this series, the series lifespan.
I mean, you are right in the sense that there is only a limited number of things to talk about, but just go take a look at the wiki. There's a random page button. This is one of the things I was obsessed with when I first started playing. There's a button that you click and it just takes you a random page in the wiki. And just hit that a few times and you'll realize there's a lot of stuff to know in this game. And it's just so rich that I think that we can come up with at least a few more topics last
quite a while.
Yeah.
All right, so next episode. Again, from Van Hex. Oh, thank you for another question.
Mm-hmm. Now you got both your questions.
You said that it's possible to make or get an item that will teleport you from the Freedom Cluster to the Epic Cluster. Will the item work both ways, or are you stuck on the Epic Cluster forever? Good question. Now, I've never done it, but I have seen people go there and come back, and this is just all theory for me since I haven't done it, but I assume that, see, this item will not come with you, so no, you can't use that item to come back. But I'm pretty sure that there's items like that, if not the same kind of item, over there on the Epic Cluster that will port you back here.
I think I can answer this question a little bit better.
All right, because I don't know.
Yeah, I think, okay, so if you're on Freedom, we'll use this example, and you create this epic portal. The portal is like a structure.
Yeah, it's a structure that's on the ground.
Yeah, you can't move it once it's down.
Big gate-looking thing.
Big gate, and you right-click it. I think you right-click it. I've never done it either.
You right-click it and you do use or something like that. You click use.
When you do this for the first time, you have to choose one of the servers to go on. Make a wise choice, because if you choose and then later want to change your mind, you can't. It's a one-time choice only. So research the servers, research the factions that are over there, because it makes a big difference. When you choose the server, it will zone you in to the newbie, like the starting where you would load in when you first joined the game. And there is a epic portal at that place, so you'll be walking through an epic portal to get to that place, and it'll be the starter town. Usually they're built up. I've only from what I've heard, and you can explore, go around, do whatever. But I think you have to stay for 1 hour.
Oh.
You can't or come back for a whole hour. So you gotta wait for an hour, and then I believe you can come back in through any epic portal that's over there. So you can come back through the one that you came through, or you can come back through any other one, but it will remember which one you chose. In addition, it will remember the one that you came through to begin with. So you step through the epic portal to come back to freedom, you will come back through the one that you left from.
You'll be back where you started.
Back where you started. So no worries about being teleported to some random location. It'll always remember which one you came through. And that works both ways. So if you travel to a different epic portal, go through, back to freedom, and then go back to the epic, you'll be where you left off.
I see. So with that, I think that's the last question of the week. If you want your question answered, just leave us a comment on any one of our, or usually the most recent video, but any of our videos, we'll try to get to it. If we missed it, please send us another comment in our most recent video, because we might miss it if it's coming from one of the older videos, because we can't, as we're getting more videos, it's harder for us to keep a track of every. If you want your questions asked, it's best to ask it on our website at serversaredown.com, because we do have a list of all those comments, but we don't really have as much control over the lists on like YouTube and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So make us a comment at serversaredown.com. We'll try to get to it every week during our question and answer segment. With that, I'll say please follow us on Twitter at Factional Fight and like us on Facebook at serversaredown.com. Thank you for watching our episode, and next week we're doing all this farming. We're doing all this farming for that other village.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do with the farm? What do you do with the stuff once you farm it if you were to do it yourself? What would you do with all those crops? What would you do with all those like onions and corn and that sort of thing? Maybe we would make some meals. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. Who knows? But until then, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys on Deliverance. Take care.